ready for short horror stories that will make you scream or cringe in discomfort. The taxidermist's dark legacy in the small town of Willow Creek, nestled in the heart of rural America. There stood an antique shop like no other. The sign above the door read Curios and Wonders, but the locals knew that this was more than just a simple store. It was a shrine to the bizarre and the grotesque. Inside, the shelves were lined with taxidermied animals in various states of decay. Birds with glassy eyes stared blankly from their perches, while rabbits huddled together in froza and terror. Skins of deer and foxes hung like macabre tapestries on the walls, each one meticulously posed to convey a sense of lifelessness. But it was the human taxidermy that really caught people's attention. A series of glass-encased specimens lined the back wall of the shop, each one a frozen snapshot of humanity at its most unsettling. Eyes seemed to stare out from the darkness, while lips curled into perpetual screams or snarls. The owner of Curios and Wonders was an enigmatic figure named Henry. He was a taxidermist by trade, but his passion for the craft went far beyond mere technique. Henry had a vision of humanity as a delicate balance between life and death, with the boundaries between the two blurring into a grotesque fusion. As a young man, Henry had grown up in a family of modest means. His father was an itinerant taxidermist, traveling from town to town collecting specimens for the local museums. From an early age, Henry had learned the art of stuffing and mounting animals, but he soon became fascinated with the human form. Henry's fascination with human taxidermy began when he stumbled upon an ancient tome in his father's workshop. The book was bound in black leather and adorned with strange symbols that seemed to shimmer in the candlelight. As Henry delved deeper into the pages, he discovered a world of twisted art and morbid curiosity. The book told the story of a long-forgotten cult that had worshipped death as a transformative force. According to the cult's teachings, by preserving the human form, one could transcend mortality and become something more, something eternal. Henry became obsessed with the idea, spending years studying the ancient art and practicing his craft. He experimented with different techniques, pushing the boundaries of what was considered acceptable in the world of taxidermy. As his skills improved, Henry began to attract attention from local collectors and enthusiasts. They would visit him at Curios and Wonders, gazing in awe at his creations. But there were those who saw something more sinister behind Henry's art. One such person was Emily, a young journalist investigating the dark underbelly of taxidermy culture. She had heard whispers about Henry's human specimens and decided to pay him a visit. Curios and Wonders was like nothing Emily had ever seen before. The air inside was heavy with the scent of formaldehyde and decay. As she made her way through the shop, Emily noticed that each specimen seemed to be watching her. She felt a shiver run down her spine as Henry approached her, his eyes gleaming with an unsettling intensity. "Welcome to my workshop," he said, his voice dripping with enthusiasm. "I'm glad you're interested in my art. step back, her heart racing. There was something unnerving about Henry's fixation on death and decay. She began to suspect that his creations were more than mere taxidermy. They were a doorway to the very abyss he sought to transcend. "I have to ask," Emily said, her voice steady despite her growing unease. "What inspired you to create these specimens?" Henry's smile was like a snake slithering through grass. "I'm exploring the boundaries of life and death," he explained. "The human form is so fragile, yet so resilient. By preserving it, I can create something truly beautiful, something that transcends mortality." Emily left Curios and Wonders with more questions than answers. She couldn't shake the feeling that Henry's art was a facade, a thin veil hiding a far darker truth. As she walked away from the shop, she caught a glimpse of herself in a storefront window. Her reflection stared back, but it was distorted, twisted into a grotesque parody of its former self. For a moment, Emily wondered if she had become like Henry's specimens, frozen in time, trapped between life and death. The more Emily delved into the world of taxidermy, the more she realized that Henry's art was not just a reflection of his obsession with death, but also a symptom of something far more sinister. Taxidermy, when pushed to its limits, became an art form of dark curiosity, an exploration of humanity's relationship with mortality. As Emily dug deeper into the world of taxidermists and their collectors, she discovered a hidden network of enthusiasts who shared Henry's vision. They were drawn to his work, like moths to a flame, eager to push the boundaries of what was considered acceptable. Their ultimate goal was not art, but something far more sinister, an attempt to become one with death itself. By preserving human specimens, they believed that they could transcend mortality and join the ranks of the eternal. Emily knew she had stumbled upon something dark and twisted. She realized that Henry's creations were just a doorway to a far greater horror, a world where humanity was no longer what it seemed. The more Emily explored this world, the more she became entangled in its web of deceit. She began to question her own identity, wondering if she had become like Henry's specimens, frozen in time, trapped between life and death. In the end, Emily discovered that Curios and Wonders was more than just a taxidermy shop. It was a shrine to the dark legacy of those who sought to transcend mortality. The creatures within its walls were not just animals, but doorways to a realm where humanity was consumed by darkness. As Emily gazed into Henry's glass-encased specimens, she realized that she had become part of this twisted world. She was no longer the same person who had walked through the shop's doors, searching for answers. Now, she was one of them, a specimen preserved in time, trapped between life and death. The last thing Emily saw as she looked into Henry's eyes was her own reflection staring back at her, distorted into a grotesque parody of its former self. She knew then that she had become part of the dark legacy of Curios and Wonders, forever trapped within its walls. Thank you for joining me on this terrifying journey. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more spine-chilling tales. Until next time, Stay safe, and remember, some legends are more than just stories. Good night, and sweet dreams.